Friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my top 5 favorite fragrances that I would like to wear if my husband liked fragrances for date night, specifically for Valentine's Day. Now, the thing is that there are a lot of fragrances out there, definitely a lot more than are in my collection, but these are the ones that I think in my collection are the sexiest, are the most appropriate for just a really romantic night out, specifically Valentine's Day, where you want to make an impression. And I wanted to recommend these as well because they don't just make me feel sexy. I always get a lot of compliments on these as well from other people, specifically from the opposite sex. So I also feel like these would be fantastic fragrances if you were going on a first date or you want to make an impression with your fragrance on Valentine's Day. These would be wonderful fragrances that would be a fantastic experience for not only you but also your partner or your date or whoever you're spending Valentine's Day with. So if you'd like to see my 5 recommendations for Valentine's Day fragrances, then keep watching. My cat keeps knocking the camera off the thing. Oh my gosh. All right, also real quick, elephant in the room, I cut off my hair. I cut off like this much because it was dead and it needed to be cut off to keep it healthy. So I got short hair again, or shorter hair, so you know, I'm gonna have to find new ways to style it. But anyway, okay, so let's get to the fragrance. Let's talk about the fragrances. I'm actually going to list these in order from my least recommendation, but still a high recommendation, to my one that I absolutely recommend, my absolute favorite that I would recommend for you guys. So it's gonna go 5 to 1, but these are still my top 5. I had already filmed this video before with my top 10, and it was 45 minutes long. So I was like, nope, I'm not gonna do a super long video for this. I want it to be short and sweet, or as short as possible and as sweet as possible. So I'm going to just limit it to 5, and at the very end I will list to you my honorable mentions, the ones that I was initially talking about that weren't part of this final list. So the first one I want to talk about is Cuir Amethyste from Armani Prive. This one, I did a review of this. If I have reviews of any of these fragrances, I will link them below. This is just a beautiful, sensual, sexy, really like leathery, luxurious fragrance that excuse me, it's a unisex fragrance, but I think that this is one of the fragrances that is truly, truly unisex. It's going to be sexy on a man and sexy on a woman. And I also think that this makes an impact. This isn't one of those leather fragrances where it smells like a stack of leather, like a stack of handbags or leather jackets, and like somebody sprayed like a powdery perfume over it. This is really expertly well mixed. It's syrupy and sweet and just very alluring and sensual and velvety. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. So I would definitely recommend this as a date night fragrance because it's just one of the fragrances that is very pleasing and very popular, and is going to really bring out a sensuality with you when you go on your date. I love this one a lot. Like I said before in this, when I did the review of this, I wish my husband would wear this. He doesn't like fragrances. I know I talk about it all the time. He doesn't wear fragrances. He has unscented deodorant. We use unscented laundry detergent. So, I mean, he really doesn't like fragrances. But if he were to ever wear a fragrance, if I were to ever choose a fragrance for him to wear, it would definitely be this one. It's ultra, ultra sexy. I love it. Next up is one that's some consider to be unisex, I consider to be ridiculously feminine, and it's Jasmin Rouge from Tom Ford. Now this is just gorgeous. It is like a true to form jasmine fragrance. It's got this sweet white floral to it, but it's got this biting green bitterness to it, kind of like an oak moss that's just really sensual and luxurious. And I'm going to say luxurious because sometimes with white florals, if they're too white floral, they smell cheap. They smell like something you would get from the dollar store. And if you're spending a lot of money on fragrance, you don't want that. You kind of want to smell the quality of the ingredients. And I think the greenness in this and the little bit of spices that are in this as well really just kind of elevate the jasmine and just make this smell expensive. So this is a fantastically beautiful white floral fragrance if you want to smell alluring and expensive and luxurious and you want to exude that to you and your partner. and kind of make the people around you question, like, oh, look at what's she wearing? What's he wearing? Oh, you know, like, this is definitely an enviable fragrance. This is something that you're going to wear, you're going to get complimented on, it's going to be beautiful, and it's a fantastically beautiful romantic scent without being too sweet and whimsical. It is very grounded, and I get that from the greenness of it, but the jasmine really elevates this and makes this beautiful and flirty and extremely feminine, and that's why I think this is a perfect pick for Valentine's Day. Next up is one of my sexiest fragrances, and I don't say that lightly, and if I'm coughing, I've just had this in my throat. Next up is one of my sexiest fragrances, and I don't say that lightly. In fact, this to me is what I think of when I think of a sexy fragrance. Now, this is considered to be a feminine fragrance, but I can definitely see this as being more unisex, leaning more towards the feminine way. And it's Suhara Noir from Tom Ford. Yes, another Tom Ford fragrance. I love them. This is just like, it smells like this more feminine version of Spice Bomb. Maybe that's why I liked Spice Bomb so much, is because it reminded me so much of this. There's the pepper and the tobacco and the leather, and it's just a little bit softer than Spice Bomb, just a little bit. But this is just beautiful and gorgeous. There's also like mandarin in here, just a little bit. And I think that this is an ultra sexy fragrance if you want to wear something that's really going to make an impact. This isn't a fragrance that's going to sit quietly. This is a fragrance that's going to take charge. It's going to cut through every other fragrance in the room, and it's going to be the only one that's really going to be noticeable. And I think that is just a fantastic, empowering fragrance. And that's why I think this is so sexy. It's like an empowering sexy. It's a take charge sexy. It's a push the person on the bed and say, let's go kind of sexy. I know, it's getting a little risque in here, but this is just one of those fragrances that I just love, love, love. And I would definitely recommend this if you want to have one of those dates where it's just like a take charge, you're in control. Yeah. I don't know why I did that. But one of those evenings, this definitely is it. The next one is a fragrance that you see quite frequently on my list because it's one of my absolute favorites. And it is Flowerbomb Viktor and Rolf Rose Explosion. This, guys, is just fantastic. Really, truly, it's gorgeous. You've got the Flowerbomb heart of it, but then it's got like a blast of rose, and I do use blast pun-wise as Flowerbomb and Rose Explosion. But what I love about this is this isn't just like a extra rose Flowerbomb. The spicy saffron in this fragrance kind of elevates it and makes it smell really unique and also really sexy. I am loving saffron in fragrances. It's one of the notes that I just kind of look for because it's so good, and it just plays beautifully with this fragrance. It's ultra sexy, it's alluring, it's mysterious, it's a safe fragrance. It doesn't offend noses. And again, whenever I say that, I always use the Poison fragrances from Christian Dior. Those fragrances are magnificent, but not everyone can stand them. Sometimes they're too powdery, they're too heavy, people don't understand the notes, they get headaches, they cough. It's an unfortunate reaction to beautiful, amazing fragrances, but this is kind of like on the line of being a beautifully expert mixed fragrance that has the allure and the passion behind it, love the Poison fragrances, without giving people migraines, without making people cough. I also love the longevity on this fragrance. If you're out dancing and you're sweating, or it's a hot night and you're going for a walk on the beach, this fragrance is going to last on your skin and smell beautiful the entire time. And if you have a fantastic evening, this is going to be a memorable fragrance. So say you have a wonderful Valentine's Day, it's ultra romantic, and later on, like a few weeks or a month or two later, you kind of want to remind him about what an amazing night you had. You can spray this on and they'll kind of be brought back to that. This is a very distinctive fragrance, again, while still being safe, which is why I really, really love it. Last but not least, definitely not least, because this is number one. Now, Spice Rose Explosion was almost number one. But when I thought about it, I kind of thought about what fragrance do I think is, like, when I think of romantic fragrances, I think of either incredibly androgynous unisex fragrances that are just really unique and very passionate, which kind of reminds me of this. Also, Serge Noir from Salutations would be a fantastic example, and also Cuir Amethyste from Armani Prive. And the other ones, to me, are very sensual femininity. That's what I love about the Jasmin Rouge, and that's what I really like about Rose Explosion. The Flowerbomb heart just makes it very sensual and very feminine, but the saffron and the rose kind of elevates it and again makes it very unique but also very safe, which is why I really think that's a fantastic recommendation for Valentine's Day. I know it's hard to find. If you guys can get your hands on it, get your hands on it. It's so good. But when I was thinking about the #1 fragrance, I was thinking about what I would recommend for people who wanted to make a unique impact but smell ultra feminine. Like, and I was thinking of ultra feminine, romantic, flirty Valentine's Day. And for me, like, part of Valentine's Day is the Valentine's Day candy. I love Valentine's Day candy. It tastes a little bit better than the other candy, even if you buy it for yourself, because your husband refuses to, what does he say? Support the addiction, because I like candy. If you can't tell. Anyway, so for me, the choice was simple, and it is Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540 or 540 Eau de Parfum. This little guy right here is a powerhouse of femininity. Now, I mentioned in my review of this, I thought this would be very sexy on a man, and I think it would be. I actually love it when men wear ultra feminine fragrances. I really, really dig it. It's one of my personal preferences, but this it smells like a sparkling candy. It's very sparkling, it's warm, it's rich. It's not heavy though, which is really, really nice. And it's also very distinctive. The sillage in this is also freakishly incredible, guys. This will fill a room like you will not believe. It's just so freakishly gorgeous and luxurious and beautiful. And oh my gosh, this one is just a keeper. Also, guys, if you're watching this video and you want to get a gift for your lovely lady or guy, who knows, and they like feminine, ultra feminine fragrances, this is a fantastic gift. The reason why I chose this one is because this, to me, when I envisioned when I was younger going on Valentine's Day dates, I envisioned this sweetness, but all this like romantic femininity. Like, I always wanted to go for a walk on the beach and to go out to dinner and to just be taken out and have a good time. And I think that this fragrance kind of has that summed up in the bottle. It smells like a romantic date. It really does. If you've never experienced this fragrance, guys, I would go and test it as soon as you can. It is definitely an experience. If you don't like ultra sweet fragrances, I would maybe stick with the spice. Sahara Noir is a fantastic one, and also Cuir Amethyste, but this is just ultra sweet. It smells like burnt sugar, cotton candy. It's got marigold in there. It's just stunning and beautiful, and it has excellent longevity, so this will last throughout your entire date no matter what you're doing, which is why I recommend this. And I could talk for another 5 minutes about it, but I won't because I don't want this video to be half an hour long. But this is definitely highly recommended, my #1 pick. Love it. So those are my picks, my top 5. The other fragrances that almost made it to my list that were part of my top 10 but I talked about forever was Prada Candy. Was more of kind of like a safe, easy version of the Baccarat Rouge 540 from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Serge Noir is always a favorite in the evening. I think it's very sexy. It smells like the beautiful mix of generic men's cologne and beautiful female cologne. I just love the way it smells together. I also really, really like Dolce & Gabbana Pour Femme Intense. It's a beautiful powdery tuberose if you like powdery florals. It's really beautiful and elegant. Also, Coco Noir and Chanel No. 5 are always parts of my date night list. I think those are classics for a reason. And you will probably see on just about every list I will mention Rose d'Araby from Armani Prive. But for me, that isn't so much of a date night choice because I wear it all the time. So it's not like a special occasion fragrance, it's a how I want to smell all the time fragrance. That and Bay Rose 26 from my Labo are my go-to fragrances currently. So I wanted to kind of choose different ones that you don't see all the time, but a lot of these are parts of my list, are part of my other list, just because they are so fantastic and I do reach for them all the time, and I do recommend them for different events or seasons or things that are happening in your life. So these guys are definite recommendations for Valentine's Day if you're anything like me and you choose your Valentine's Day scent 2 months in advance. Don't ask me how long it took me to choose my wedding day fragrance. I think it was 4 months. Literally, I was getting married in October and I was still started looking for it in May. So I'm one of those people that just I have to find the perfect one. Also, if you're wondering which one that was, it was Maison Francis Kurkdjian Aqua Universalis Forte, and I smelled amazing. But yeah, these are my picks for Valentine's Day, and I hope you like them. If you guys have any recommendations of it you think would be ultra feminine, romantic, androgynous, beautifully unisex, flirty, romantic, sexy fragrances, link them below. I always like excuses to buy new fragrances or try out new things, so I would love to know your recommendations. If you think any of these on my list weren't the best choices, let me know too. I'd love to know your critique. As always, if you like my videos, specifically my fragrance videos, guys, remember to give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue doing videos like this. Also, don't forget to subscribe because it's free and I'm free. And I put out new videos every Monday through Friday and sometimes on the weekends as well. So I'll always have something for you to watch. In any case, I hope you guys are all happy and healthy and have a great day, month, year, whatever. And I'll see you next time.